Hi everyone, this is Curator from Angry Centaur Gaming, the channel that brings you reviews with no bullshit and many times a surprising lack of anger. Today's recipient for being under the microscope is the third-person game State of Decay Year 1 Survival Edition. One of the longest titles I've ever seen, State of Decay could tell the story of the United Nations' moral decline into a third world power and the government conspiracy to hide the fact the Clintons are reptilianoids, but it doesn't. Instead, State of Decay tells a story of a group of survivors in the throes of a zombie disaster, and I learned not to try to navigate zombies without a quad shot espresso and some Aleve for cramping. In the end, that's State of Decay. The greatest thing about this version of State of Decay is it also ends up packing in both expansions from the original game. Breakdown, which has the story removed as well as any chance of hope, and Lifeline, which is hilariously named to make you think there's a chance as you jump into the shoes of military during the initial breakout and play from a different side than the original game's point of view, but with the same overall result, which is a slow mental decline into insanity or someone eats your head. So that's 3 games for less than $30. Let's see if that's a deal or highway robbery. State of Decay is coming out on the Xbox One and PC, and this review is based on both. Graphics are up first. I'd be remiss in not informing viewers that the original State of Decay was a meandering mess graphically, and though it climbed above its ugly roots to offer good gameplay, it was hammered by frequent bugs and FPS drops that were actually at times rather revolutionary and sort of felt like gamers were being tested on just how much they could take before they broke. Sadly, not much has changed here. The game's engine lives solidly on the corner of not solid and bat-shittingly odd. For every positive in this new version, like better textures, a far crisper overall picture, and smoother animation blending, you get FPS drops at the most random times, like the game just forgets what it's doing and gets confused while it looks at something shiny. Or the fact that random animations will just stop for zombies, and they'll skate by you at full speed, stuck in the run pose like 3D targets at a gun range. A freaky, screaming, zombie-filled gun range. And it's moments like that that aren't endearing at all and basically make you feel like you're living in your goddamn own horror show. This makes the game an incredibly mixed bag. The graphics are indeed better, but that just means you can see the errors, problems, FPS drops, and other issues all the clearer. Apparently this game was programmed to run on a bag of fucking pork rinds and not on a normal CPU. The graphics are passable when in forests or not driving or not asking the game to do much in the way of movements, but the moment you surprise it by, say, wanting to fucking walk forward, well then prepare for Barter Town, because you're gonna have to accept a deal. The game won't outright crash, but at its own discretion it will stutter like someone's throwing a series of oil paintings past your face and pretending it's full motion. In a world where people want and expect 60 frame per second games, this one at times feels like it drops to 6, which is exactly 1/10 as cool. Sadly, that means many people won't notice some of the cool little touches in the game. The golden sunrise reminding you that you survived another night without a trip through zombie bowels, or the hundreds of changes locations can go through as you upgrade them and their attention to detail, or the detailed vehicle damage systems that makes returning home in a truck with no tires and only one door something to actually be remembered and talked about with friends later. Listen, I can't say I'm impressed. Better picture and textures, but many of the same horrid issues as the original. Sound, music, and voice.
Alan says the army just choppered a bunch of...
Better deal with this first.
Roger that, Black Friday. Better than we hoped for. Hold your position, wait for the next name on the list.
Roger that, sir.
You've been effective enough that I'm allocating some assets to back you up. Drone recon.
The sound is actually excellent, with guns snapping sharp reports or thunderous booms depending on caliber, zombies screaming, grunting, groaning, and gallivanting around you like you closed your eyes at a Rock Siegfried dinner party. The only real weak spot, though, are the vehicles. While some do sound good or have the throaty report you expect, many sound far too tinny and high and two-stroke-like for my tastes. It's a truly random shot here with no rhyme or reason to why some sound great and some just sound universally terrible. Music is up next. The music's done by the original composer, a Mr. Jesper Kyd, who returned to do some new tracks for the new games, and they have a fitting, almost spaghetti western sound to them. The soundtrack was enjoyable in the base games in the past, but here it has truly distinguished itself, climbing above the oftentimes smoky debris of a game engine, asking to perform far past its ability and helping add much-needed atmosphere to the titles. Excellent music throughout, and a completely ownable set of tracks separate from the game as well. And voice. I love the voice. Aside from a cheeseball here or there and some stunted lines, the game keeps most discussion tight and well written, and whether you're talking down some 90210 addict from offing themselves because they're now facing reality and understand their life means nothing, or you're breaking up a fight in your outpost because someone snores too loud, the words are kept to a useful minimum. Additionally, the game constantly keeps you informed with status updates and other informational points of interest as you command your After the Apocalypse 4H team to victory. Of course, here victory is just dying last. Overall, I like the voice, despite a couple flaws here and there. Gameplay. In any good game, the gameplay system should be bookended by excellent action that fills that open space with memories of good times and enjoyable moments. Here, many of those systems are there, including RPG-like level-ups, emotional caretaking of the residents under your watch, resource management of all kinds, true leadership decisions, including kicking people completely out on their asses to be a side dish for the zombies, and many, many others. In the base game, State of Decay plays like a survival adventure with your crafting relegated to your main bases that can be upgraded and improved via the resources you gather. From these, you go out and forage like a digital Walking Dead, yet somehow this game captures that feeling of desolation, reducing rations, and overarching danger better than the show itself, and in many cases, better than any game that I can easily remember. Your main job is to keep you and your friends alive, and well, I say friends, but I mean pals, and sometimes I just mean comrades or even just extra weight. You see, it depends on the people you've allowed into your base and the assorted skills, attitudes, and traits they bring with them. This is what makes State of Decay so endearing. It's filled with gameplay systems, with each melding with the others to form a cohesive and strangely realistic whole. And nothing is done by text or some shallow manner. If characters are fighting, you see it and hear about it and have to help if you want to improve the chance of them working it out. If someone is ill, you need to help pull the weight of both decreased scavenging, but also possibly making sure that they can get medication they need, or that they have a medical location to get better and don't spread it to others. The game systems are intertwined so well that at times it can appear daunting, as a single issue with one person can balloon out into a Greek tragedy, with people leaving your base, becoming careless, and leaving doors open and just acting like petulant fucks worthy of a good morning bullet to their brain sack. However, the game hands you the tools to overcome almost any obstacle. Incoming zombie hordes, for instance, can be downed with the limited supplies of vehicles, taken out by hand, shot from far away, or blown the fuck up by making sure you have set up outposts nearby your base, or an assortment of other ways. Yet with each action is a reaction. Just like forest creatures, zombies fuck up cars. So smashing a ton of them isn't actually the smartest. And if you fight zombies hand to hand, your weapons degrade, people go batshit crazy, and sometimes just run the hell away. If you make an outpost and mine the locations where a group of zombies are at, it may work the best. However, it takes resources just like everything else. And that balancing and tit-for-tat gameplay reside throughout this title. In fact, the real name of the game here is to take that tit-for-tat moment and somehow turn it to your slightest, barest, and almost unexplainable benefit. Resources are the heart and soul of State of Decay, but I don't just mean the last cup of noodles. I mean people with good skills. I mean bases with reinforced area, a good cook to increase morale, and maybe a mechanic in a mechanic shed to repair cars you've used in your nightly experiments to breed a Ford and a dead person. I mean, even good moods, because keeping everyone happy keeps the place running well, and to do that, you need other things. It's like a shitty zombie-filled circle of life where one side of the circle just keeps trying to eat the other side. Indeed, there is just a masterful next-level give and take in the gameplay systems here. Melt that in with a fairly robust skill upgrade path that offers excellent rewards for going face-to-face with the body eaters, and you have a game that feels like it's part RPG, part strategy, part 3D person, action-adventure title. That's not even including the limitless number of traits that are randomly given out to townsfolk at the starting of the game, and each affects statistics differently, meaning if I save Joe Bob, my Joe Bob might be a cowardly, big-muscled idiot riddled with a bad back, while yours might be a gun-toting leader of men ready to take on the world. It makes Replay a fucking fantastic adventure all by itself. Now, I'm not gonna lie, at many times the game does have more than a passing similarity in look and gameplay style as the Dead Rising series. But where that game has gone for a cutscene-heavy, twisting story overarching a system of customizations that are enjoyable if needlessly bombastic, State of Decay removes much of the fluff and wipes away the shiny coat. For better or worse, this game has more in common with The Walking Dead than Dead Rising, and probably has more in common with The Walking Dead than the damned show does. But then, also, you have Breakdown, DLC from the past version. Breakdown removes the story and instead has you saving peeps, gathering resources, and then, as an in-game, escaping the town with a select group of survivors you find to be the most worthy of survival. And why does that matter? Because, like being reincarnated into your own shitty life, you end up back in town with just those NPCs you save, and now everything is just a bit harder, and this goes on for 10 total towns, with each location upping the difficulty and masterfully making you change tactics. In the later levels, weapons are something to be used as a last resort, and shooting a gun is pretty much just putting the towel down for ritual killing before offing yourself. This fresh take on gameplay and tactics makes this version almost infinitely replayable. And then you have Lifeline. This time you play the military, saving people to be air-vac'd out before you and your men also leave the town. However, like the Space Marines and aliens, the only difference between you and everyone else is that you have guns, but you're still category fucked, subcategory soon. The nice thing is that the gameplay again totally switches, and though you're still fighting for resources, you have an almost instant bevy of military backups like bomb drops and so forth. It once again throws State of Decay on its side, and as an expansion offers an almost suicidal amount of gameplay differences than the original. Some caveats, however, remain. Cars meander between controlling well and controlling like you're suggesting the damn thing turn right when you're careening down a road at 60 miles an hour, which pretty much sounds like the worst thing possible, which is bartering with your vehicle to do what it's supposed to. And there isn't really much of a rhyme or reason, and the game's systems are intertwined enough with the four-wheeled monsters that foregoing their life-giving interiors just isn't always possible, especially when you're tasked with returning 3 cowardly, unskilled heathens back to your base. You could hightail it, hoping for the best in a game that enjoys smashing hope then pointing at you while you're crying, or you can jump in a car and hope it doesn't control like 30 leashed cats all wanting to go their separate ways. Luckily, combat itself is fairly spot on, and even removing the fact of the special skills and so forth, everyone can bash, smash, cut, shoot, slash, burn, and punch their way through most smaller zombie groups. It's when the giant fat ones call over their buddies, the Screamers, who then text their pals, the Ferals, and they all decide that the best place to party is about 3 inches below where your damned heart should be, that things begin to suck. In the end, it's all about death. The emotion of watching a character die and realizing that almost everyone is playable for a reason. The heart-wrenching send-off to the dead that occurs back at your base, and the feeling of newness and isolation when you move your base to a new location because you've sucked up the local area dry of resources and you'll starve to death if you stay there. This is a game that focuses on leadership on the fly, courage at all times, and knowing that sometimes bad decisions need to be made for the good of any group, and those are the ones that hurt like a son of a bitch. Maybe you'll get out of town. I mean, maybe you will, but in the end, there will indeed be scars that remain, and it's that emotional resonance with the player that this game captures that almost no game I've played in quite a long time has been able to capture. Fun factor, I could go on and on, but as I did with the original, I enjoyed State of Decay so far beyond what its technical limitations should have allowed me to, it's almost criminal. The game reminds me a lot of Dragon's Dogma, and it's sort of painful in that way. A game that offers an incredible amount, but many will find too hard to get past its technical flounderings to see. But guys, this is my game. A game that starts out in familiar territory, but leads to so many gameplay systems in such a subtle manner that soon the juggling of 50 tasks feels the same as starting out with just one, though they all involve running from zombies, which adds the danger a game like this needs so vitally. If you let yourself just sit back in the gameplay systems and learn them, and then appreciate the times when they speak across the game in ways you never expected, you will probably find it impossible not to enjoy. And there's a bevy of things I'm sure I'm not covering, but that's half the fun of State of Decay. When engaging in the game with friends, the stories you will tell will inevitably lead to an "oh shit, I didn't know about that" moment. And there is really no higher level of compliment I can give to a game. So let's wrap this up. What does State of Decay Year 1 Survival Edition do right? Emotion. The ability to make you care about a character that's passed away or feel for that character when they have a success is rare in games, and I loved it here. Also, leadership and the harsh realities. This is one of the few games where you can be and make a decision as a leader and then jump into somebody else's body and see those choices sort of met out. And it's really cool to see, like, you make a choice for even an upgrade, but then you jump into a character, or maybe you invite a character to your home to live with you guys, and you become them, and you find out that the thing that you guys upgraded or added doesn't really help you. You needed something else. And it's just this odd dichotomy of different skills and traits absolutely fantastic when it comes to leadership. Insane bang for your buck. You get a story-based game, you get a game with another story from a different point of view, and you get pretty much insanely replayability in the version that has no story. Also, the soundtrack, incredible. I would absolutely own that outside of this game. The atmosphere, they've just locked it in, guys. It's great. The overall locations that you visit are awesome. There's a town area. There's out in the park. Every place plays different. It really does feel like it's lived in. And then lastly, it is solid damn fun. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Fun can beat out almost anything for me, and this game is a complete blast. Even with the FPS issues, I solidly do not give a shit. I would rather play this than so many other supposedly AAA games or games with excellent gameplay that look amazing. This game is amazing, and it's amazing fun. I just can't explain it more. What does State of Decay do wrong? You know, that engine is in its own state of decay. It's just that bad. It's constantly falling apart, and I really wish they'd fix it. Frame rate issues pop in. I wish they'd get those fixed, because I know there'll be some people who listen to this review and say, well, graphically, it's not the best, so I'm not going to play it. And unfortunately, they're going to miss a game that I honestly do believe they could ignore the graphics issues and still enjoy, but whatever. And then lastly, some glitches here and there. There were definitely some glitches. So I rate games on a buy, wait for sale, rent, or never talk about it again rating scale. Despite the poor graphics representation, of course, the gameplay trumps everything, lofts it into a territory I really haven't seen in a long time, perhaps since this game originally came out on the 360. You simply get an awesome amount of gameplay. It's worth a buy, and for that amount of money, you're getting a ton. The gameplay is fantastic, and though the engine can't keep up all the time, it's sort of like that one friend in a group of friends that's just a little odder than the others, but without him or her, it wouldn't be a group at all. That's the way I feel. My library of games wouldn't be complete without this game. That is how solidly I am behind it. So that's it for me. If you like the video, hit like. If you dislike to hit dislike, please subscribe, share, tell other people about it. It always helps. Peace out.